Jesus preached the gospel of the kingdom and cured every disease among the people. Hallelujah. The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. After making the crossing to the other side of the sea, Jesus and his disciples came to land at Gennesaret and tied up there. As they were leaving the boat, people immediately recognized him. They scurried about the surrounding country and began to bring in the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. Whatever villages or towns or countryside he entered, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch only the tassel on his cloak, and as many as touched it were healed. The Gospel of the Lord. 52 Americans were held hostage by Iran for 444 days from 1980 to 1981. On Christmas Day of 1980, 3 clergymen were permitted to meet with the hostages to hold religious services and give them messages from home. And one clergyman told the hostage Barry Rosen, "Mr. Rosen, I saw your wife Barbara and your son Alexander in New York. Alexander is a wonderful boy, and he sends you this." With that, the clergyman placed a kiss on Barry's cheek. Barry remembered both his wife and his son and soon began to weep, badly missing them. Brothers and sisters, today we reflect on the gospel reading from Mark chapter 6, which is about the multitude of people who have come from across the remote regions of Judea in order to come closer to Jesus. They wanted even just to touch the tassel on his cloak so that they can experience healing and comfort in their lives. This is quite an appropriate gospel reading for the celebration today, which is the memorial of Our Lady of Lourdes and also the World Day of Prayer for the Sick. The power of touch, indeed, says Jesuit Father Mark Link, is one of the most powerful forms of communication there is. That is why people really wanted not just a glimpse of Jesus. They wanted to experience him by their own hands, by their own reaching out to him. And our gathering here also speaks of our need to be touched by Christ. Perhaps we may have a personal experience of enlightenment, of second chances, of blessings in life that have made us come here because we are not content with only being touched for once in our hearts. Mubalik-balik manggani kita sa simbahan tungod kay buot nato nga makasinati pag-usab kang Jesus. Karon nga nailhan na nato si Jesus, napuno kita sa kalipay, kaayuhan sa iyang grasya, sa kapag-uhan sa atong kinabuhi, o aduna tay bag-ong paglaom. We are like the crowd who has traveled even distant places because we seek Jesus and we seek to be touched by the Lord. But why do we need Jesus? Why do we want to encounter him? Our need for God to touch us, to encounter us, should again be a need that is motivated by a sincere wanting and desiring of him. The Episcopalian theologian and biblical scholar William Barclay notes in our reading that people flock to Jesus for various reasons and motivations. It is natural that they come to him, Barclay observes, because there are so many things that he could give to each one of us. Muduol man gyud ta ni Jesus kay daghan man siya mahatag kanato. Ang pangutana, di kung wala nay ikahatag kanato ang Ginoo, importante bagyapon siya sa atong kinabuhi. Hilabi na kung sa gunson ang atong suliran o gibug-aton, malipayon bagyapon kita nga nailhan nato si Jesus. The Reverend Barclay then gives us this warning. It is always a shameful thing to take everything from God and then to give nothing on our part. And yet, it is very characteristic of human nature to do so. Ang atong likayan nga, kita ra maoy sigig nang inahanglan to the point nga mahimo noon ta og dawat limpyo o freeloaders sa comfort o blessings ni Lord. And this happens when we do not also do our part, when we always like to be touched by the Lord, but do not even reach out or extend our hands to help others, to lead other people to Christ. Not only to be the ones to experience healing, but also to be an instrument and agent of healing and reconciliation. We do not make God as if He were our bellhop or our butler, the Reverend Barclay also adds. When we make God our bellhop or mere personal assistant, we end up being like hotel customers who would ring on the bellhop whenever we need something. Then we could dismiss this bellhop God when we are already happy and satisfied, blessed, forgiven, and healed. Jesus himself then reminds the Apostle Peter in Luke chapter 22, verse 32, when he says, Simon, when you have recovered, when you have been forgiven, you must also strengthen your brothers and sisters. Henceforth, our need to be touched by Christ is no longer just our personal or private need. We also extend Christ for others to encounter the Lord by our own initiative, our personal stories, and more so by our witness and our way of life. We conclude this reflection with the words of then Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger and now Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. He says, "Whoever looks upon the crucified one sees what love is. Whoever looks upon the crucified one is, in his turn, looked upon with love, and this gives him truth. The gaze of love and the goodness of God then will let him live, not only for himself, but also for others."